The 6 to 12 hypertrophy rep range is a myth. Kind of.
Is that 3 sets per body part or 3 sets total?
For muscle are optimal. And it seems like anywhere between 3 at the low end and 12 at the high end. Sets per muscle.
I still just don't understand.
It seems like limitations of doing 10 sets of low muscle.
Gym culture is like a high school drama. On one hand, you have the popular kids who don't really have to try because of their good genetics. Then on the other hand, you have the jocks who often ego lift as they disregard perfect technique in favor of pushing themselves as hard as possible. Then you have the nerds or science-based lifters who tend to over-critique every single aspect of gym training and turn the whole gym experience into a boring school lecture instead of a good time. Then you have people like me who watches from a distance and takes in all the information from everyone. And because of how radicalized every single group is, you tend not to fit in with anyone. I like calling it being a lone warrior. You might call it being a loner or a loser. Gym bros hate science-based lifters.
The press is wrong. Ideally, we want presses to be straightforward and straight back.
And even within the science-based lifting community, there's always infighting. No one can seem to agree on what's optimal or what everyone should be doing. You have one person claiming one thing, and then you have another person directly contradicting them. And this creates an endless cycle of discourse and leaves everyone just more confused than before. Should I be doing 2 sets? Should I be doing 8? Should I do 1 RIR or 2? But after reading and watching all of these fitness content creators arguing like it's a family Thanksgiving, I've realized something that almost everyone on both sides of the debate seems to completely ignore. But before we even get into that, let's define what a science-based lifter actually is. To me, it's simple. A science-based lifter is anyone who actively researches their training and nutrition to optimize their results. They stay updated with current information, apply critical thinking, and make calculated decisions based both on research and personal experience. Even if you might disagree with the training methods, they usually have sound reasoning behind their approach. And this is exactly where the disconnect happens. Science-based lifters interpret different studies differently. They use different sources and they apply the information in their own unique ways. This means that science-based lifting isn't a single unified approach. It's a framework. And yet, so many people treat it as a dogma, as if there's a single right way to train. I have a unique perspective on this. My dad introduced me to the gym at 14 years old with an old school bro mentality. For years, I trained based on feel, instinct, and gym lore. But in the last 2.5 years, I fully immersed myself in the science of hypertrophy, learning the intricacies of how diet and training can impact muscle growth. Using that knowledge, I self-coached myself to a bodybuilding competition win. I've been on both sides and I've seen the flaws and the positives in each. But one of the biggest issues of science-based lifting isn't the science itself, it's how it's communicated. Why would you ever do more than 5 reps? While technically yes, if you train with a high enough intensity, you only need about 5 reps to maximize hypertrophy. But this statement lacks context. If you're an intermediate or advanced lifter, that can mean you're pushing significantly heavier loads to stay within that rep range. If you have back issues, this would eliminate heavy squats as a viable option. You might need to lighten the loads and do high reps to achieve the same stimulus with less joint stress. Even without injuries, some workouts simply don't work with low reps. Are you telling me that you're gonna do 5 rep side lateral raises with dumbbells while pushing it close to failure? Good luck programming that for weeks on end. With my own experience, once the weight is heavy enough, your joints and connective tissue will give out before your delts are truly stimulated. What about the movements with small ranges of motions like long lengthened partials for calf raises? How slow do you have to make those 5 reps to maintain effectiveness? Statements like these might be true in a vacuum, but they lack the necessary nuance to be useful in practice. And the worst part, these same creators posting this content often do provide more context in their long form videos or their ever-growing catalogs of shorts, reels, and TikToks. Their audience doesn't always watch all those other videos. They hear the short clips, latch onto them, them and then regurgitate them like gospel. I've seen people online form their entire fitness identities around these simplified takes, arguing aggressively with anyone who disagrees with them, even when they have no real understanding of the research behind them. On the flip side, some creators lean into this dogma intentionally because it drives engagement. This is the only way type of content gets clicks. It gets people riled up. It builds cult-like followings that reinforce echo chambers, shutting out any opposing views or real-world experience.
Honestly, I don't know who the fuck to trust. Is he my friend or my foe? I'm off the exit, draw. Yeah, she give me that claim as well.
Now let's address the other side, the gym bros, who dismiss science-based lifting altogether. They mock studies, laugh at optimal programming, and thinks everything comes down to just lift heavy, bro. And here's the thing, they're not entirely wrong. A lot of science-based lifters just dismiss anecdotal evidence entirely, which is a huge mistake. Bro science exists for a reason, because it's often based on decades of real-world trial and error. There is some wisdom in that. Some of the biggest and strongest people in the world don't meticulously follow studies, yet they still get results. Why? Genetics plays a huge factor. Probably the biggest, but also because at the end of the day, progressive overload, intensity, and consistency will always be the foundation of muscle growth. That being said, as paradoxical as this sounds, just because something worked for you doesn't mean it's the best way. What science does is it allows us to refine our training approaches, making them more efficient and adaptable. Ignoring data entirely is just as ignorant as following it blindly without question. The biggest issue for the modern science-based gym community is the push for a singular, correct way to train. But here's the reality, studies are constantly evolving. New research often contradicts old findings. Fitness trends shift overnight. One year, everyone's saying push-pull legs is king, and the next,
upper lower is the only logical split.
I've seen it firsthand. A top creator will post the new optimal workout to hit your back, and then the next day, half the gym is doing it. But science isn't about rigid adherence, it's about principles. The best way to train depends on your goals, genetics, and structure. Science should be the foundation of your training, not the prison that limits it. Principles are there to give you a starting point, not to dictate every move. What's optimal on paper might not be optimal for you. Experience matters. Trial and error matters. So stop blindly following trends. Use science as a tool and don't disregard your own personal experience. The only way to find what's truly optimal for you is to actually do it. Damn, Nike was right.